Welcome back, everyone, and thank you for joining part two of our lecture on health data ethics. In part one, we explored the foundation, that why ethics matter, how principles work. Now, in part two, we move from principles to practice, that how do researchers ensure why rules and check matters when handling the sensitive data. Let's see it. Imagine if every researcher could just take patient data and use it however they wanted. Does it sound risky? Ethical data use is not just about good intentions, it depends on the robust oversight. No individual or organization should be left to govern themselves when handling sensitive health data. That is where layers of governance and policy come in. So, layer one is the Institutional Review Board or the Research Ethics Committee. This is the first layer. Think of them as the ethical gatekeepers. Before any study or project begins, this committee review the protocol. Are the data collection methods ethical? Is patient privacy respected? Are the risks and benefits balanced? Without IRB review, even well intentioned research could accidentally harm participants or violate policy. In many countries, IRB approval is legally required before you touch any patient data. Layer 2 is the Data Access Committee, that is DAC. The second layer is they act like traffic controllers for the sensitive data sets. It evaluates requests to use the data, make sure the researcher is qualified, and enforce data use agreements. For example, a hospital may only allow AI researchers to use anonymized data under strict conditions. DAC ensures that data is not misused even after it leaves the original institution. The layer 3 is audit and transparency reports. This layer is about the accountability after approval. Even with IRB and DSE, we need ongoing checks, audits, and transparency reports. Audit verify that researchers are following the approved protocols. Transparency reports allow the public and regulators to see how data is being used. This layer is crucial because it prevents misuse, maintain trust, and ensure compliance with policies like HIPAA, GDPR, or national health data laws. All these layers, IRB, DAC audits, are embedded in health data policy. Policies are not arbitrary rules. They exist to protect the individuals, build trust, and enable responsible innovation. Without strong governance, even the most exciting AI or health research project could backfire ethically and legally. So remember, ethical health data use is more than a personal responsibility. It is a system of checks, balance, and oversight. When you follow governance protocols, you don't just comply with the law, you protect patients, uphold trust, and strengthen research integrity. A practical example is the UK Biobank, one of the world's largest research databases. Every project using its data is reviewed by an ethics and governance council, ensuring that results benefit public health and align with participants' consent. Without oversight, even well meaning researchers may cross ethical lines. So, strong governance is not bureaucracy, it's a moral compass ensuring a public trust. In data sharing models and secure platforms, here our health data lives and how ethics protect it. Imagine your health data as a library of secrets. So, first comes the centralized repositories, that is the grand library. Analog is all books are under one roof in a huge secure building. You walk in, everything is neatly organized, supervised, and easy to find. From the ethical angle, when we see then privacy and consent are enforced like the library rules. But if a thief breaks in, all secrets are exposed. So, a strong security is essential. Example is the UK National's Biobank. Then is the federated system. It is the you can take it as a traveling robot librarian. Here, the books stay in the local libraries, but a robot travels between them to read and summarize without taking them. So each library keeps control of its own books, but researchers still get the knowledge they need. From ethical angle, it protects confidentiality because the books that are the data it never leaves. Collaboration happens safely across the locations. Example is the multi-hospital research network. The third is the trusted research environment. Uh, Take its example as the virtual lab. You enter a high technology lab where you can read and analyze the books. The books means the data, but you cannot take them home. Researchers do their experiments safely there, and every action is watched and recorded to prevent the misuse. It perfectly balanced between access for science and protection of privacy. Uh, Example, you would in the Europe COVID-19 data platform was established. You can read about it in Google. Uh, think of these three steps in a safety ladder. First is the centralized, then is the federated, and then is the TRE. Each step increases protection while still allowing research to flourish. So, key ethical principles that are privacy and consent, it respect the data owner. Access control, only approved researchers enter the lab. And transparency and accountability, every action is tracked. In collaboration without risk, it share the insights, not the raw data. Ethics is not just about privacy, it's about fairness and justice. Historically, much health research used data from the global south or the marginalized populations, but it returned very few benefits to them. So it take the form of a data colonialism. An ethical framework requires inclusive data representation, so that algorithm and studies reflect diverse population. Then comes the equitable benefit sharing. It ensures local communities and low income countries also gain from the data they contribute. In community engagement, affected populations participate in decisions about the data use. Example is the H3 Africa project. It was funded by NIH and Wellcome Trust. It was built precisely to address inequity in genomics. African scientists led the research, and participants are informed about the outcomes, creating local ownership and capacity. So, ethics in data is also about global solidarity, not only about protecting rights but promoting fairness and shared progress. Artificial intelligence in healthcare is deeply tied to health ethics and ethical policy. Because how artificial intelligence uses, analyzes, and decides based on health data can impact patient safety, privacy, fairness, and trust. Imagine a robot doctor who can read millions of patients' record in seconds and suggest the treatment plan. It sounds amazing, but what if it makes a decision that you do not understand or it is biased? So this is where the health ethics in artificial intelligence comes in. Artificial intelligence is no doubt it transforming the healthcare from diagnosis to the predictive analytics. But with power comes profound ethical responsibility as well. Artificial intelligence system rely on large complex data sets, which raises issues like data bias, accountability, transparency. One key concern is the algorithmic bias. If training data reflects existing inequalities, the AI may reinforce or even magnify them. For example, underrepresentation of certain populations in health data set can lead to misdiagnosis or unfair treatment recommendations. Another challenge is the explainability. Many artificial intelligence models, especially the deep learning ones, function as black boxes. Ethically, patients and practitioners should have the right to understand how decisions affecting them are made. Therefore, AI ethics in healthcare requires transparency in data sources and model design, accountability for outcomes, human oversight in critical decision making, and in fairness and inclusivity in data representation. There is a WHO Ethics and Governance of AI for Health report. It strongly emphasizes that AI should augment, not replace, the human judgment. And it must always align with the principles of beneficence, justice, and respect for autonomy. Imagine a digital doctor that can read millions of patient records in seconds. It sounds amazing, but what if it makes a mistake? It favor one group over another or produce a result you do not understand. So that is why WHO created its principles for ethical AI in health, a guide to make AI safe, fair, and accountable. In its safety and effectiveness, works as a certified doctor. Just like medical devices, AI must be validated before use. Continuous monitoring ensure it keeps performing safely over time. Think of AI as a car. It needs crash test before hitting the road and regular maintenance afterwards. In equity and fairness, the point is that no patient should left behind. So audit AI for bias across gender, ethnicity, and geography. AI must treat all patients fairly. Uh, Take it an example of a weighing scale that is slightly tilted. If uncorrected, some patient always get less. So AI fairness ensures the scale is balanced for everyone. In accountability and transparency, we see who is responsible. Like document data sources, models, and decisions. Human must remain accountable for AI output. So, if an AI recommend a treatment, a doctor must be able to explain why and take the responsibility of that treatment. In explainability, AI should speak human, like its outcome must be interpretable by clinicians and patients. AI is not a magic black box. It's more like a guide showing why it recommends a treatment. In provenance and documentation, track the journey. Use model cards and data sheets to trace the origin and purpose of the AI system. Ensure full traceability, preventing misuse or hidden errors. It's like keeping a diary of every ingredient in a recipe so anyone can understand how that dish was made. So, why these principles matter? WHO principles are not just ideal, they actually anchor the real policies. Government can create data protection laws. Regulatory bodies can define AI approval framework like they do for medical devices. Health institutions can ensure AI systems are transparent, fair, and accountable, protecting patients while enabling innovation. Insecurity and technical controls in health data, where we see the ethics in action. Imagine giving someone access to your medical history. You trust that it will be kept safe. In healthcare, ensuring this trust is not just good practice, it is an ethical requirement. Encryption is it scrambles data so unauthorized people cannot read it. It protects the patient privacy, that is a core principle of health ethics. And like locking your medical records in a safe, both in storage and while being delivered. Second is the multi-factor authentication. It's MFA, we call it MFA and least privilege access. MFA users must verify identity through multiple methods. Least privileges users only get access to the data they need. It prevents the unauthorized access. It respects the autonomy and confidentiality. Even a hospital insider cannot peek at records they don't need. Protecting sensitive information it is necessary. In logging, monitoring, and incident response plans, we track who access data and what they do. Incident and response plans basically prepare for breaches and mitigate damage quickly. It support the accountability and transparency. It's essential for the public trust. So it's like a security camera system with a plan if something goes wrong. In securing the software engineering and vendor risk management, software is designed with security built in. And for vendor, third party systems are assessed for risk. Ensure all actors in the system respect the patient safety and privacy. Even your trusted partner must follow the rules or the data could be at the risk. Security control operationalize ethical principles into enforceable practices. For privacy and if your health data was being used for research but they don't know how, why, or by whom, would you feel comfortable? That is why the transparency, trust, and public engagement are central to health ethics. So, public registries of data set and uses is it open records showing what data exists and why it is being used. It support accountability and transparency. Everyone can see how data is handled. Like a public library catalog, anyone can check which books are being read and for what purpose. Then, in the plain language summaries and opt out options, information about research presented clearly with easy option to decline participation. It respects autonomy and informed consent. People understand and control how their data is used. A patient can read a simple summary and say, I am okay with this research or I prefer to opt out. In deliberative engagement and co-design with communities, involving the public in designing research projects, data policies, and ethical safeguards. It promotes justice, inclusivity, and social benefit. The community has a voice in decisions affecting them. So it's like a town hall for research. The people affected help shape the rules and methods. Health data policies increasingly require transparency through registries and summaries, meaningful public engagement and feedback, respect for autonomy, fairness, and trust in digital health system. So trust is earned, not assumed. Transparency, clear communication, and engaging the public are not just nice to have, they are ethical imperatives that safeguard dignity, fairness, and public confidence in health research. Commercial use of health data is one of today's biggest ethical challenge. Partnership between healthcare organizations and private companies can lead to powerful innovations. New diagnostics, artificial intelligence tools, or predictive analytics, but they also create conflict of interest and public distrust if not managed transparently. Ethical best practices include declaring commercial interests openly, ensuring contracts align with the public benefit, not just for the profit, and setting up oversight committees to review commercial data use, sharing benefits through affordable access, royalties, or technology transfer. In 2019, Global Project Nightingale uh, secretly collected millions of health records from Ascension hospitals in the US without patient notification. Though legally it's permissible, but the secrecy lead to outrage and investigation. This case reminds us that legal does not always mean ethical. Transparency is the antidote to suspicion. When the public understand how data is used and why, collaboration between industry and healthcare becomes ethical, sustainable, and mutually beneficial. Suppose you are advising a national health authority about using COVID 19 patient data for research. Your goal is to make sure it's done ethically, legally, and effectively. How do you communicate your advice clearly to decision makers? That is where a policy brief comes in. In policy brief, first comes the elevator page. It's a concise one page snapshot highlighting the problem and proposed action. The current COVID 19 dataset includes millions of patients' records, but privacy risk and lack of transparent consent process threaten public trust. Immediate ethical safeguards are required before expanding data access. So, decision makers can grasp the core issue in under a minute. Then is the overaction plan. It is a 3 to 5 clear actionable steps based on evidence. Examples are the implement trusted research environment for safe data access. It requires plain language consent summaries for the patient. It conduct bias audits on AI models used in analyzing COVID-19 data. Basically, it provides a roadmap for ethical practical action. Third is the proof behind your advice. Here we write 2 to 3 high quality citations that support the recommendations. We can use WHO guidelines on ethical AI in health, GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, articles on consent and data rights, then the peer reviewed study on COVID 19 data privacy breaches. So, decision makers trust recommendations backed by solid evidence. In the end, we see the impact of it, who wins and who needs protection. Actually, it identifies groups affected by the policy. Patient, are the patient's privacy protected? It maintain the trust. For research, we see does it has a safe access to data. For policymakers, we see the compliance with the law and ethical standards. So it shows that policy balances the benefit and risk for everyone involved. Implementation steps and KPI monitoring. Here we have the clear plan for execution and measurable indicators. Uh, Deploy TREs, that is the trusted research environment, and train staff within 3 months. Step 2, conduct quarterly audits of AI algorithm. For the key performance indicator, see the percentage of patient record access via secure environment, number of detected privacy incidents, patient satisfaction. We ensure recommendations are practical, measurable, and accountable. So, policy brief is not just a report, it's a bridge between evidence, ethics, and action. By combining clear recommendations, solid evidence, and measurable implementations, we ensure that health data research is innovative, ethical, and trusted by the public. Here is a quick checklist which you can check while making a ethical policy. And in the next slide, you can find the references if you want to study it in detail. And thank you so much. You can email me for your queries or even post your comments